too many people continue to ignore these guidelines that have been issued by Dr. HINSHAW and the government of Alberta. As I said before, too many people are ignoring our public health guidelines, and in so doing, they endanger the health of others, particularly the most vulnerable. So, today we are moving from asking people to act responsibly to instead using the full force of the law to legally require that people act responsibly to protect public health. Through amendments to the procedures regulation under the Provincial Offences Procedures Act, community peace officers, in addition to police, will now be able to issue tickets to enforce COVID-19 public health orders. These provisions include the current limit on mass gatherings to 50 attendees, and mandatory self-isolation for people in the following circumstances: any individual diagnosed with COVID-19 or exhibiting the symptoms of COVID-19, such as cough and fever, anyone returning to Alberta from outside of Canada, and all of those who have had close contact with an individual who is confirmed or probable case of COVID-19. To be clear, returning international travelers must self-isolate for 14 days, or they will be subject to the newly imposed significant penalties. All others, including confirmed or probable cases of COVID infection and those in contact with confirmed or probable cases, must self-isolate for at least 10 days. These legally binding rules include operational daycares, except for those for whom we are making exceptions to support critical care workers and core service workers, public recreational facilities, bars and nightclubs, and non-essential visits to continuing care and long-term care facilities. So if you violate the rules that we have laid down, you will now be subject to stringent penalties and fines with rigorous enforcement behind them. To drive home the importance of everyone adhering to these laws for the protection of public health, community peace officers and police will be able to issue fines of up to $1,000 per violation through tickets. We are consulting with municipalities as well on the possibility of expanding these enforcement powers to municipal bylaw officers. Courts will also have increased powers to administer fines of up to $100,000 for a first offense and up to $500,000 for a subsequent offense or for more serious violations. These new fines will be enforced over the coming days. These new enforcement measures are a reasonable, prudent, but necessary response to the escalating COVID-19 outbreak in Alberta.
With the first offense, would have a maximum of $100,000. Subsequent ones could be higher. It'd be to the discretion of the court. So for subsequent offenses, it'd be a maximum of $500,000. But it'd be very similar to if somebody faced a penalty under the Safety Codes Act.
As new cases arise, I know that some Albertans may be feeling tired of the constant barrage of information, and they may be wondering what more they can do. The answer is simple. We must all do everything possible to follow all public health recommendations in place. All of us have a role and a responsibility to stop the spread, and there are actions that all of us can take. These extend to our homes, our families, and our traditions. For example, we need to limit sharing of open food, even between family members. Don't share snacks like a family popcorn bowl, open candy, nuts, or other snacks like this. Limit the availability of a communal fruit bowl. Don't share cups, drinks, or utensils, and have one person as the designated person to serve all others so that a serving utensil is handled only by one person. This direction became abundantly clear following the Edmonton Bonspiel, where almost half of Alberta healthcare workers in attendance have tested positive for COVID. We suspect the virus was spread at a buffet where serving spoons were handled by many people. I know it might seem strange to limit these activities in your own home. However, this is important modeling that we as parents can share with our children, and it is another step that we can take to keep each other safe. Wash your hands, disinfect surfaces often, Include this in your daily household routine and make it part of the new normal for your children also. I know many Albertans are now at home with kids or working from home. These are big changes for everyone, and you may start to feel closed in. Families may need to find creative ways to keep children occupied. One suggestion is to partner with a cohort family, where both families agree to isolate from everyone else and to focus on supporting each other. By doing this, the two families would only be exposed to each other, limiting close contacts. Children would have opportunities to play in a controlled environment, and parents would have opportunities to connect. I must be clear, this only works if both families are completely committed, and as long as members in both families remain healthy, don't have underlying medical conditions, aren't at high risk like seniors, have not recently traveled outside of the country, and are not showing any symptoms. Another change we need to make is in our traditions. There are several significant religious and cultural holidays approaching, such as Easter and Ramadan. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to talk to provincial faith leaders about how plans for these celebrations will need to change. Now is not the time to plan any travel, even to other cities or provinces, or to attend large family gatherings or dinners. We must maintain social distancing practices, even when we are together with family. Now is not the time to visit grandparents for Sunday dinner. Now is not the time to host or attend a potluck with friends. Now is not the time to plan for a family reunion. This is the time to stay home and work together to limit the spread. Please practice good hygiene and keep 2 meters between you and others.